Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Sefina Mahira Bhayangkara. I'm from class DB5B. In this video presentation, I will present my final project for research statistic, which consists of two research cases, namely experimental research case and correlation research case. I will explain the research step by step, starting from the background, research problem, research design, variables, measurement, research data, statistical analysis, result, and the last is conclusion. First, I will start with the experimental research case. Part 1, experimental research case. To begin with, I will explain the title, background, and context of the experimental research. The first case is an experimental research case entitled The Effect of Problem-Based Learning (PBL) Model on College Students' Critical Thinking Skill. This study examines whether the implementation of the problem-based learning model has an effect on students' critical thinking skills compared to conventional learning. The background or context. Critical thinking skills are very important for college students, especially in courses that require analysis, problem solving, and decision making based on data. However, in reality, many learning processes in higher education still use conventional teaching methods where the lecturer dominates the class. Because of this, students often become passive learners and do not get enough opportunity to analyze problems deeply. As a result, students' critical thinking skills do not develop optimally. One learning model that is believed to improve critical thinking skills is problem-based learning, or PBL. In the PBL model, students are actively involved in learning through real and contextual problems. They discuss problems, search for information, and develop solutions. Therefore, this study was conducted to see whether problem-based learning is more effective than conventional learning in improving students' critical thinking skills. Problem formulation. Based on this background, the research problem can be formulated as follows. Does the implementation of the problem-based learning model have an effect on students' critical thinking skills? After identifying the research problem, the next step is to determine the research design. This study uses a quasi-experimental design with a post-test-only control group. There are two groups. First, the experimental group, which receive learning using the PBL module, and the second is the control group, which receive conventional learning. Next, I will explain the variables used in this research. First, the independent variable is the learning model, consisting of PBL and conventional learning. And the second is the dependent variable is students' critical thinking skills. After identifying the variables, the next step is explaining measurement and scale. Critical thinking skills are measured using a test with score ranging from 0 to 100, which means the data are measured on an interval scale. The learning model is measured on a nominal scale. Based on the variables and research design, the research hypotheses are formulated. First, no hypothesis. There is no difference in critical thinking skills between students in the PBL group and those in the conventional learning group. And the second is the alternative hypothesis. There is a difference in critical thinking skills between students in the PBL group and those in the conventional learning group. After formulating the hypothesis, the next part is research data. The research data consists of students' critical thinking scores from 12 groups. Each group contains 30 students, and the scores are collected after the learning treatment is given. These data are then analyzed using statistical methods. The statistical analysis used in this study is an independent sample t-test. This test is used to compare the mean scores of critical thinking skills between the PBL group and the conventional group. The significance level used in this research is alpha equal 0.05. The decision rule is if the significance value is less than 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected. The results show that the mean score of the BBL group is 90.13, while the mean score of the conventional group is 78.90. The test result shows a t-value of 7.145 with a significance value of 0.000, which is smaller than 0.05. This means that there is a significant difference between the two groups. Therefore, the null hypothesis is rejected. Part 2. Correlation research case. After explaining the experimental research case, I will now continue with the correlation research case. The second case is a correlation research case entitled The Relationship Between Self-Efficacy and Academic Achievement of College Students. This study examines whether there is a relationship between academic self-efficacy and students' academic achievement. Research context or background. Academic self-efficacy refers to students' belief in their ability to complete academic tasks, such as understanding course materials, completing assignments, and taking exams. Students with high self-efficacy tend to show greater effort, persistence, and confidence, which may positively influence their academic achievement. Therefore, this research aims to examine whether there is a relationship between academic self-efficacy and students' academic achievement. Problem formulation. Next, the research question is there a relationship between academic self-efficacy and academic achievement of college students? Research design, variables, and measurement scale. Next, I will explain the research design used in this study. This study uses a correlation research design. First, the independent variable is academic self-efficacy measured using self-efficacy scores. And the second, the dependent variable is academic achievement measured using students' GPA. And the next part is variables and measurement. Both variables are numerical and measured on an interval scale, which allows the use of parametric correlation analysis. Research hypothesis. Based on the variables and research design, the research hypotheses are formulated. First, null hypothesis. There is no significant relationship between academic self-efficacy and academic achievement. And the second, alternative hypothesis. There is a significant relationship between academic self-efficacy and academic achievement. After formulating the hypothesis, the next part is research data. The data were collected from 20 college students. Each student has two scores. The first score represents their self-efficacy level, and the second scores represent their academic achievement or GPA. These paired data are used to examine whether students with higher self-efficacy also tend to have higher academic achievement. These data are then analyzed statistically. The statistical analysis used is Pearson's correlation analysis. This test is used to determine the strength and direction of the relationship between two variables. The significance level used is 0.05. Now I will explain the result of the correlation analysis. The result shows a correlation coefficient of R equals 0.730 with a significance value of 0.000. This value indicates a strong positive relationship between academic self-efficacy and academic achievement. Because the significance value is less than 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected. So the conclusion for the experimental research. Based on the result, it can be concluded that problem-based learning has a significant effect on students' critical thinking skills. Students who learn using the PBL model have higher critical thinking skills compared to students who learn using conventional methods. And for the correlation research, based on the result, it can be concluded that there is a positive and significant relationship between academic self-efficacy and academic achievement. This means that students with higher self-efficacy tend to have better academic performance. I think that's enough explanation of my final project for research statistics. Thank you very much for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.